You finish a job for a client, an email, the invoice, the money doesn't arrive. You call them, they never got the email. You send it again, and this time it lands in spam. That tiny problem might be costing you far more than you think. And the fix lives in something called DNS. Imagine sending a birthday card with £20 inside, but it never actually arrives. You'd be fuming, right? Well, your business is doing that every day. And if you've got staff, they're sending their own £20 notes every single day as well. Now, this could be one of the most important ideas that you hear this year, so you're going to have to stick with me. It might sound technical, but I promise you, by the end, you'll understand it and you'll have some actions that you can take in your business. This episode is about the invisible side of modernization, the tech foundations that I suppose keep your business secure and trusted. And let me start with a question. If your website or your email stopped working tomorrow, do you actually know who could fix it for you? Most businesses don't, and that's where DNS comes in. I'm going to start with a simple explanation. The internet was designed decades ago by an organization called DARPA, and it was designed to survive a nuclear attack. It's basically a giant web of nodes. And if one goes down, the traffic just finds another route. It's dead clever stuff. Now, DNS is what keeps that web organized. Think of it as like the digital address book of the internet. When someone types in your website, like AskJT.co.uk, DNS tells the internet where to find it. The same goes for your emails. DNS is basically saying, oh, the website lives here, the email goes here. And here's the scary bit. Whoever controls the DNS controls your business online. Inside your DNS settings live a few key records: SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. They sound really technical, and they're even more technical than I'm making them sound. But in simple terms, they're going to tell the internet that your emails are genuine and not fake. There's other sorts of records in your DNS as well, such as MX records and A records. A records telling where the web traffic goes, and MX records telling where email traffic goes. If those key records are missing, your emails could end up looking suspicious, and that's how they end up in spam. Last week, I was contacted by one of our accountants in our accountancy firm, and they said to us, our emails aren't arriving with you. What's wrong? So I did a DNS lookup on their own domain name. There was no SPF, no DKIM, no DMARC records, and there were even some DNS errors. They were a pub group with an IT firm on retainer. So don't for a minute think that this is not affecting you and your business. So why does all this matter? Ultimately, if your DNS isn't set up properly, three bad things can actually happen in your business. The first thing is your emails end up in spam or they never arrive at all. That's an operational cost because people aren't getting, and you end up having to replicate, and it's just inefficient. That's the least serious of your problems. The second is, imagine if your website goes down, maybe because of a hack, ransomware, or a server crash. Your DNS setup decides how fast you can get back online. DNS records take time to update across the internet. It's a process called propagation. If your settings are modern and managed properly, you can switch servers and be live again in minutes. If they're not, it can take days for the world to find your website again, or even where your email lives. And before you say, but Justin, I don't have an e-commerce website, the same rule is applying to email. If your system is hit by a security breach or your server's gone down, it's those DNS records that will keep you up at night. And all of a sudden you will understand what DNS is because of something called time to live and how long it takes for it to spread across the internet. So the third point is that someone can actually impersonate your business by sending fake invoices that look completely genuine. And I just saw this last week. A hacker had changed the bank details on an email. Luckily, the client's payment was stopped by the check payee system on online banking, but it could easily have gone the other way. I think the scary part of all this is most firms, the IT company has never looked at the DNS setup. And that's exactly what allows this kind of thing to happen. When it does go wrong, the IT people point the finger at the web company, and the web company says, that's not really our responsibility either. I've even seen one case where the IT firm buried the client in technical jargon to cover up that the real problem was weak DNS settings. We put all these fabulous things in place with IT, off-site backup, email redundancy, anti-malware, anti-phishing, antivirus, but we never addressed the DNS settings. It's madness. You feel like you're stuck in the middle with potentially, if it's gone wrong, you've got no website, no email, and no ideas who can actually fix it. The truth is, most providers avoid DNS because it's fiddly and it carries some risks. If a move to a new DNS provider goes wrong, your website and your email can drop offline. But don't let that put you off. Leaving it untouched could already be costing you money every single day, and it leaves your business open to much bigger risks. So who actually owns your DNS? In a lot of small firms, the domain was set up years ago by a web designer. Then an IT company took over the emails, and now you're in a position where no one really knows who controls what. And it's like running a shop where I suppose the landlord's still holding the keys to the front door. Here's what a modern setup should look like. First, you need to own your own domain name. That's the www part. Mine's www.askjt.co.uk. It should be registered in your name, with your login details and your billing details. That way, if the web company ever goes bust or disappears, you'll still have full control. I've unfortunately seen this go wrong too many times. Always keep a backup payment card on file and know exactly where your domain lives. It is the lifeblood of your business. It's so central to your business identity. So make sure you've taken ownership of it, and also turn on two-factor authentication for safety. You don't want any bad actors getting hold of that domain name. So next, we need to look after your DNS properly. When your site was first set up, your DNS records were probably added through your domain control panel. That's the place where you registered your domain name. And then you've just forgotten about it. That's fine, but you can do better. When people ask who should manage their DNS, my answer is absolutely simple. There's an organization called Cloudflare. Cloudflare isn't just a DNS host. It's what's called a content delivery network, or a CDN. In plain terms, that means your website loads faster, it stays online even if the main server fails, it adds layers of protection, it filters out attacks, and it helps emails reach inboxes instead of spam. Most importantly, it gives you control. There is one dashboard where you can see everything and secure with two-factor authentication. In my view, it's the modern grown-up way to manage your domain and DNS. The next part is, once you've moved onto Cloudflare, you need to make sure that you have these special records in place to ensure email deliverability. These are the SPF, DKIM, and DMARC records that are in place. And they're almost like ID checks that stop spoofing. Confirm with your IT company who manages your domain name and how they access it, or how you access it, if there is ever a problem. Once this setup is done, you'll hardly ever need to touch it again. But if something goes wrong and you experience downtime like a server crash, this could just cost you thousands in hours. So let's make sure that we've got it right. So let's talk a little bit about who actually needs to do this and help you, or what needs to happen next. You don't need to do any of this yourself. I'm not giving you a how-to video. All I'm explaining to you is how you can modernize your business and protect yourself. And that I'm equipping you with education and language so you can go and speak to a professional. You need to work with someone who can do this properly for you. Most IT companies and web developers do actually know how to do this stuff. It's just they didn't really want to touch it. So step one is find out where your domain is registered. That's the starting point of everything. Ask your web developer or your IT company who controls my domain name and where is it hosted. If they control it, get it transferred to you so it's in your control. Step two is ask the IT company or web company to move your DNS to Cloudflare. It's actually a simple job for a professional, but it gives you visibility, security, and kind of speed all in one place. And it's going to give you peace of mind as well. Step 3 is make sure your email security records in that DNS control panel in Cloudflare are in place. That's the things like SPF records that tell the world which servers can send emails for you, or the DKIM records, which digitally signs those emails to prove they're actually genuine. And the DMARC, which is DMARC, tells receiving servers what to do if someone tries to spoof you. All of this sounds really technical, but this is one-time work that you just do it once. And once it's done, it's done. It will last for years. I promise you that. And you've just got to go and speak to your IT providers and say, I've watched this video online and he was talking about Cloudflare and content delivery networks. And are we using this? Do we have an SPF record? Do we have a DMARC record? Can you show me the DNS records? We fixed this for one client recently. Before making the change, half their invoices were ending up in spam. After sorting the DNS out and adding 3 simple records for an IT professional, every message started hitting the inbox properly again. There were all of a sudden, there were less missed payments. People were actually paying on time or even early because they were getting the invoices. There was less risk of fake invoice scams. They couldn't actually believe the difference it was making. It's almost like an invisible difference, isn't it? So here's your quick summary, okay? Who registered your domain name? Where does your DNS actually live? Do you have 2-factor authentication switched on for your logins to get into your domain name? And does your IT company even know the answers to these questions? And if they don't, then you need to find out why they don't know the answers. If not, fix it before something breaks. I've been kind of doing this thing called a Modernisation Diagnostic. And if you're interested in maybe applying to work with me so I can help you modernise your business, and not just with your DNS, but in lots of different areas, go to my website, which is askjt.co.uk. DNS has been one of those things that when I've been working with clients doing modernisation reports, I've been noticing that probably 90% of the people I've worked with got misconfigured DNS records, which is really concerning. If you want to keep improving your business, I suppose my next watch episode for you to have a look at would be the 7-year end checks that every director should be doing. It's coming up next on screen. My message from this video is own your domain name, secure your DNS, and take control of your digital foundations. That's where every modern business starts. See you next time. Bye.